Welcome back to Dani Place. I have a special video here today talking mostly about Street Fighter V. I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I think you should all know about this new interview that's been released by Eurogamer. It's very interesting. It reveals a lot of things, and I don't think enough people are realizing or seeing this even. So with me wanting to talk about Street Fighter V and this interview coming out, I think it's the perfect time to talk about it. So first off, Street Fighter V had a terrible launch. It was rushed. It had a roster of 16 characters. A lot of fan favorite characters didn't make it in. Even the original World Warriors like Blanca and Johanna didn't make it in until now. A lot of things have happened with the game, and even Ono, the producer of Street Fighter V and Mr. Street Fighter, knows about this. And I'm not saying any other games are more perfect either, but I'm just saying that Street Fighter, being such a legendary title, had such a rough start. The Big Brother Arcade Edition came out, and I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. Street Fighter V launched as a console exclusive for PlayStation 4 with crossplay to PC users. Now, I like this a lot in fighting game. In fact, I think a lot more games should have this crossplay. Yeah, now we're seeing that Sony has opened up for crossplay too, and the future of fighting games hopefully will have more crossplay options. Now I want to talk about Street Fighter in the past, and you know, I'm a huge Street Fighter fan, but I gotta be honest too. I wasn't too impressed with the game at the time, but seeing the visuals and the music and all that did impress me, even though a lot of content was missing and you know, my characters wasn't there. Like, okay, Ryu and Chun-Li were there, Ken, some characters I always loved and mained, but characters like Akuma, Sagat, a lot of other, Blanca wasn't even there. And you know, in 2017, I don't even think I played the game once, even though characters like Akuma came in, but I just lost interest in the game. Now, the game has been very pro focused since release. They wanted it to be, you know, the head of Evo, and which it has been for many years. So Street Fighter V, I want to talk about the things I didn't like. I didn't like that it had such a weak roster, that in fact that the story mode was DLC. In fact, survival mode was terrible too before Arcade Edition came out and gave a little bit chance for winning. The rewards for survival mode was horrible. You get an EX color for your characters, that's it. Well, you would get some money and EXP, but at the time survival mode was not fun. It was more like an actual survival mode. It didn't feel like a fun game mode. The online was not good, but honestly, a lot of fighting games these days don't have good netcodes, and most of these are coming from Japanese developers. Because if you want to see a video about netcode, I would recommend Maximilian's video so we can explain more about it. Street Fighter V had a rough sales of 2.1 million from launch to end of 2017. 2.1 million. That's not good for a title that has been out for almost 2 years. And that's where Arcade Edition comes in. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is a free update for existing Street Fighter owners, and it released physical copies too, with downloadable codes for Season Pass 1 and 2, and if you bought the Deluxe Edition you get Season Pass free as well. So Arcade Edition brought a lot of changes, some good, some bad. You know, we got Arcade Edition, we got some new modes such as Fighting Chance and Extra Battle Mode and things like that. Along with that, we got a new look of the game, the main menu, new soundtracks for all of the stages, and the background music in general, and everything, just a lot of things change. But the bad things are that in the arcade edition, story mode will no longer give you fight money. You got 100,000 fight money for completing story mode in Street Fighter V. In arcade edition, you don't get anything from completing story mode, no matter what difficulty you're playing on. Now, the new additions such as Fighting Chance and Extra Battle are good, but in Fighting Chance you basically gamble your in-game fight money out in chance for a rare item or costume. So just be aware of that. But you have to spend thousands of fight money to even get what you wanted. Extra battle mode are mostly focused on, as of right now, a crossover between Capcom IPs, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, Onimusha, and so on. Costumes for characters and background music too that can be played while you're fighting or training or whatever. And there's even some that give you reward for defeating an AI, a Shadowloo fighter. You get 20,000 EXP, you can level up your fighter. The biggest issue with Arcade Edition is the way fight money is handled. The netcode is still not good. It has improved. You don't get a lot of fight money either. From the mission section, they had cut down in half twice. So you would get 5,000 fight money for one mission to begin with, and later on that was cut down to 2,500 fight money, and now there's not even an option to get that much money. The max you can get is 500 fight money in the missions. And rewards, it gave you 500 before, now it gave you 250. Some that gave you 100 now give you 50, and so on. So the rewards have been cut out, so you get less fight money now. There's a lot of offline modes that allow you to gain fight money. Ono has said you can gain over 350,000 fight money through offline modes such as trials, demonstrations, missions, survival mode, and so on. So right now we are at Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. We are at version 1.90. We are about to get to version 5.0. And the North American Regional Finals are coming up soon, along with Capcom Pro Tour 2019. So I'm probably going to make a follow-up video about the new announcement. So Ono has been speaking with Eurogamer about Street Fighter V, the future and whatever's going on. There was a tournament mode added to the game, but it's in beta as of right now. And it seems that we're gonna get, from the rumors I've heard, that we're gonna get a Street Fighter V Tournament Edition. And I'm gonna stop right there and talk about Intel World Cup first. Intel World Open. I think this was unplanned and a sudden change that Capcom had to do. During the Tokyo Olympics 2020, there will be a side event that Intel is hosting for Rocket League and Street Fighter V. Now this is very huge for the fighting game community and Street Fighter in general, being such a major event. And I think that has led to many changes in Capcom's timeline of Street Fighter V. Now there's going to be a possible Street Fighter V Tournament Edition, which is obviously going to focus on tournaments and online and pros and etc. training. During this interview here, he was asked, is this part of a big refresh for Street Fighter V? So what he essentially meant is this like a major update like Super Street Fighter V or Ultra? Well, Ono said right here, you might be imagining the old days of Super and Ultra, but it's more of a big addition to the game. Now they want to focus on the Intel World Open, and I can understand that because it is very important to them as a company, and you know, Street Fighter V is a big brand out there in the Tokyo Olympics. So they want to focus on the tournament as of 2020. So after the big updates in November and December, I'm quoting here from the interview right here. So they're getting some big updates out of the way. They want these updates in November and December to arrive and be ready because of the tournament. During the tournament they will not do any major updates or balance changes, because every time you add a new character or a major balance change while this tournament happening, or pro players are very invested in the game, they have to take time to learn these new balance changes, learn these new characters. And Ono wants to make sure that Street Fighter V does not go through this during the Inter-World Open. Obviously you don't want to give buffs and nerfs and add some new major things while the tournament is happening. So he's basically saying here that they're going to lock down the game until the tournament is over. So remember, in the beginning of 2019, after Kage was released, we didn't hear anything for 6 months about Street Fighter V, and I think this was a part of it too. Inter-World, and there's been a lot of changes too, and they also said that they were going to do season 4 a bit different, which they already have been doing a lot different. There's not a pass anymore. So next year, if you're wondering why there isn't any updates or have Capcom just given up on the game, no, they want to focus on the tournament and make sure that it's not being disrupted by major updates and characters and stuff like that. Well, like I mentioned before, there's going to be a tournament mode, and right now he's saying there's a group tournament. It has about 8 people that can be invited to a lobby. He's talking about Battle Lounge. Now, I have always wanted a tournament mode in the game, and it seems like this is something that they're working on. They're basically saying that this tournament mode is going to be way more different than Battle Lounge. They're making sure that hundreds of people can take part in a tournament at the same time. So with this Inter-World Open and the tournament mode coming out and all that, I'm wondering if there's going to be an online improvement to the game. The owner hasn't said anything, but he has mentioned netcode once. I'll go to that in a bit. He also mentions here that they have about 500,000 matches a day that they're analyzing. They're analyzing the data of it so they can see which characters needs buffs and nerfs and what improvements they could add to the game itself. Here also talking about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat collide together. Ed Boon wanted to have a Street Fighter character in Mortal Kombat, which was denied by Capcom as a company. Most developers and employees didn't see the two franchises mixed well together. And then they're also talking about that Mortal Kombat has a lot of guest characters, and if it's something that would ever happen for Street Fighter. And he says here that, well, Capcom are open to make crossover games like Marvel vs. Capcom, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, but it doesn't seem like he wants to have guest characters in Street Fighter itself. He wants Street Fighter to be a part of a crossover game like Tekken vs. Street Fighter perhaps, and it's being on hold as of what Bandai Namco have said. And then the interviewer is also saying that he wants to have rival schools characters in Street Fighter, which is something we all want, or any rival schools game would be nice. And Ono is just jokingly saying, I didn't get anything during yesterday's talk, but I'll bring my collection box around again so you can contribute. And then they're also talking about Street Fighter 4 and 5 on the Switch, now that there's Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. And we know that Street Fighter 4 was a exclusive for PlayStation 4 at launch. I believe Street Fighter 4 for Xbox One is backwards compatible. And we all know Street Fighter 5 is a console exclusive for PS4. But Ono has said that it's Nintendo they have to talk to, not Ono, about this. And I think this is more of a deal between Capcom and Sony having a deal together, that it won't be possible for Switch to have it. And here is something that we also see, that Street Fighter V had a trouble launch. If you were to launch a new one now, what would you do different? And Ono admits, he admitted many years ago that Street Fighter V should have waited, it shouldn't have launched like this. But here he's saying that he learned a lot from the launch. The main thing he wants to focus on is the netcode. That's the thing we all want to hear. More fighting games and Japanese developers focusing on the netcode. We want a better netcode, we want stable fighting games, and we want fast fighting games too. We don't have to go all these menus, we just want to get in the fight and have a stable match. That's what Ono is saying here, that he wants to focus on the netcode. And then he's mentioning here that smarter AI means a tougher AI. He is harder to defeat, but what Ono wants to do is have the AI smarter to teach you how to play the game and how to defeat the AI. He's pointing out a lot of good things that I want in future fighting games. I want better and more explainable tutorials, but not too difficult ones, and I want better netcode too. And that's what Ono is saying here. That he wants a smarter AI to teach the player how to play the game, how to be good at it, and how to play it as you were a pro. A few months ago, Ono's position in Capcom was changed a bit, but he is still Mr. Street Fighter. He's still the head of Street Fighter, so no change there. Then there's also talk about Deep Down, a title that was announced for PS4 many years ago. And what happened to it? Well, Ono is saying here that the trademark recently got renewed and is still up there. So, well, Capcom haven't forgot about it, but there's just nothing new to it yet. The original team is clearly no longer together, but Capcom keeping up the trademark means that, they're not forgotten about it. So I think as of right now, the future of Street Fighter V will mainly be focused on tournaments, especially this Inter-World Open tournament. And I don't think we're going to see Street Fighter 6 anytime soon, but we're going to see major updates, more characters, and more modes. But yeah, if you want to check out the interview, I'll link it down below. Let me know what your thoughts are about this whole past and future thing with Street Fighter. Got to mention about the sales, which is pretty important for Street Fighter V. So during the end of 2017, Street Fighter V had reached 2.1 million sales. Capcom's goals was to hit 2 million by the end of 2016, but that did not happen before the end of 2017, where they hit 2.1 million. Then with Arcade Edition, there's an interesting break that happens between the sales. It wasn't until 1st of July 2018 to 30th September 2018 that we saw an increasement in sales, but the sales were very low for Arcade Edition. It was only at 100k, so it was 2.2 million. And honestly, in 9 months, I don't believe that the game has sold 100,000. I think it has sold more, but Capcom has either held back the sales or it actually didn't do as well, which is surprising considering how during release there was a lot of new stuff added and it was on sale many times during the events Capcom Pro Tour. But it wasn't until 30 September 2018 that it had growth in sales by 100,000. Now here's where the interesting part kicks in. From 1st of October to the end of the year of 2018, it has shipped 700,000, so putting it at 2.9 million. Now that's impressive. When I first saw that, I follow a lot of Capcom's game sales, and I was specifically looking for Street Fighter V, seeing if they had Arcade Edition by itself, like they did with older titles, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, Ultra Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4. With Street Fighter 4, whenever there was a new edition released, like Arcade Edition or Ultra or Super, they would have their own separate sales on Capcom's web pages, and I thought they would do the same with Arcade Edition for Street Fighter V, but they didn't. They overlapped that with Street Fighter V's original numbers. So at the end of 2018, the last 3 months, it got 700,000 in sales, putting it at 2.9 million. Now that's good, showing that it actually got something, because I was worried that Arcade Edition would not do well, considering how the first 9 months we only sold 100,000. We had a lot of people speak about this, that how come the sales have not grown, and was it just a waste for Capcom? But now I have 2019 numbers too. Capcom updated the numbers yesterday as of this recording. So from 1st of January 2019 to 31st of March 2019, it has sold 200,000k. Now seeing that it didn't sell that much the beginning of the year rather than the end of the year, which leads me to believe that the game is selling most when it's on sale, or if there's special events going on, or maybe free trials. Especially when there's a Capcom Pro Tour event going on, they usually have DLCs and games sometimes on sale. So at from 1st of April 2019 to 30th of June, and it sold 600,000 copies in a matter of 3 months. From 1st of January 2019 to 31st of March 2019, from 2.9 million to 3.1. At 200,000. So that's good numbers. And then the other one I mentioned went from 3.1 million to 3.7. Now that's impressive. Even though the game has not been doing as well as other titles have, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tekken 7, it's still on the way. It just had a slow start. So it obviously shows that Arcade Edition did something. And the new numbers that I have here updated yesterday, putting it at 3.9 million. So it has sold 200,000 copies as of September 30th. Now the other numbers was from 30th of June, so that means that is July, August and September, 3 months again. It has sold 200,000 copies. Now obviously we all know that by now the game should have reached 4 million. So overall, from end of 2017 to now end of 2019, the game has sold 1.8 million copies. And I'm glad to see that the game hasn't been given up on, considering how much of a troublemaker it was in the beginning. And yeah, I hope that the new editions coming here in November and December, DLCs, and the new possibly tournament edition is going to be good and hopefully increase the sales as well. So yeah, Arcade Edition has helped a lot, but it still has some flaws, and I'm hoping that they will fix this before locking down the game during the tournament that is until World Open. So yeah, that's just a little bit rant about Street Fighter V, the past, where we are now, and the possibly future of it. And it doesn't seem like Street Fighter V is going anywhere anytime soon, which I don't think it should be either. Like Ono said in the interview, let the next generation come in and wait for the fan base to grow before making a game. He also said they don't want to make a game at the launch, just rush it out. There's no need to. It'll be interesting to see if the game is Street Fighter 6 or the next Street Fighter title is exclusive to Sony platforms again, or if it's open to everyone. Because it seems like Nintendo fanbase also wants Street Fighter games on the Switch, such as Street Fighter 4 and 5. But like Ono said, he does not control that. That's up to Nintendo. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below your thoughts about Street Fighter 5. If you'd like to see more videos like this, definitely hit the like button and subscribe for more. I'm planning to do more of these videos for other fighting games in the near future, but as for now, it's been it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.